Good morning, Jai Mohan ji, and wish you all a very happy new year 2026. This is the first episode we are recording for the year 2026, and we are doing the book reading Guru Leela Volume 5 Dimensions Beyond Horizons. We are covering the chapter written by our Mohanji Foundation CEO Madhusudan, and it's regarding the Mohanji Home for Seniors in Tiruvannamalai. That's in Tamil Nadu state of India. Last In the last episode, we completed the section where we just were, commencing the construction phase, and that's where we will start the commencement ceremony, and thereafter miracles galore. While the construction was still going on, we had not yet set a final date for completing phase 1. One day in late July 2021, Mohanji called and asked us to fix a launch date soon. He was still in Europe. However, he wanted the progress to accelerate. He said that we had made a promise to the seniors and needed to deliver on it, and further delays would not be good. He also mentioned that this place would be home to not just the elders, but that many Siddhas of Arunachala would visit and bless the center. Considering that the project was visualized in late 2018, it had been almost 3 years. So we understood the reason for Mohanji's request. This reminder from Mohanji gave fresh wings to the work progress. We finalized the date as Krishna Janmashtami, also the death anniversary of Ammu, Mohanji's daughter, who died in a tragic road accident in the year 2000, and was inspiration for the setup of Ammu Care, as well as Mohanji's journey into the world of spirituality and humanitarian work. When this date was set, we had less than 4 weeks and plenty of work to complete. Mamuji was concerned about the deadline since he knew the finishing work on such project always took far longer than one estimated, quite different from all the structural work that had already been completed. Nonetheless, with Kishore on site and with inspiration from Mohanji, the team accelerated the work. The original plan was to conduct a big inauguration. We made a list of dignitaries in Tiruvannamalai to invite them and seek blessings for the project's launch. However, we eventually pared the program down as it became clear that the building would not be complete. Our focus changed from aesthetics to the bare essentials required to make the center livable for our seniors. Hence, the emphasis went on working kitchen, clean toilets, beds, and basic furniture, staff for the center, and such aspects. Besides the construction, we had also run into a challenge with the staffing. The original plan was for the entire old age shelter to shift to this home. However, as we approached the finish line, Ramanna, the shelter caretaker, spoke to us and requested that he would like to continue operating his center. During the COVID pandemic, thanks to generous donors, his position of managing the center had become a bit better, and the threat of eviction by the municipality also seemed to be at bay. He offered to support us with his expertise, with people as well as sending elderly people to our home so that both centers could operate in parallel. When we heard this, our first response was that of surprise, since this, in a way, challenged the entire premise of building this home. Upon reflection, we realized that this was a blessing in disguise. The old age shelter situation had been catalyst for launching this noble project. Now that it was ready for operations, perhaps this was the master's way of providing more support for the elderly. So we decided to honor Ramana's request and proceed with our plans as before. Mohanji had decided to set up this home to serve the seniors, and we would stay true to that purpose. We quickly identified staff to serve at the center, including some resources from Ramana's shelter, and prepared ourselves for full-fledged operations. For the launch ceremonies, the astrologer suggested the 29th and the 30th of August 2021, coinciding with Krishna Janmashtami. We also renamed the function to a commencement ceremony to signify that activities would commence from 1st September. That is, some seniors would actually move in and start living in the Mohanji home for seniors. The pujas were to be officiated by our Mohanji family, Vasudevan Nambudripad from Palakkad, aided by our Kerala lead volunteer Devdas. They brought the essentials for the pujas and conducted three different pujas: a Navagraha Homa, a Ganapati Homa, and a Bhagavati Seva over 29th and 30th August. The pujas were conducted with great austerity. We placed a life-size photo frame of Mohanji at the reception so that he would literally welcome everyone into the home. Within a day, the change of vibrations in the center was palpable, almost like Mohanji and the Siddhas of Arunachala were blessing the project for success, considering the noble service that was to start at the home. I was privileged to be there throughout these pujas and observed how smoothly things fell into place. Till a few weeks back, work was happening, but without a fixed deadline as such. But as soon as Mohanji drove the focus to a set date, everything began to fit together. Another example of how Mohanji's Agnya Shakti, the commanding power, moves mountains. Further, we had a series of wonderful experiences on the days of puja. Whenever we conduct a puja or a homa, there is a secret intention, the sankalpa, and our main wish is that our offerings are accepted. For the Mohanji Home for Seniors, our main sankalp was for the project to be successful so that we may serve many seniors with purity and compassion. On those days, we had four different incidents that gave us clear, unmistakable signs that the deities and the master were happy with the pujas in specific and the project in general. First, this is talking about the signs about deities and master were happy. First, on 29th August, the morning ceremony was a Ganpati Homa, fire ritual to Lord Ganesha. The ceremony lasted for an hour. When it was over, the priest distributed the prasad, the consecrated offering, a special dish made with puffed rice, sesame, coconut shavings, and sweetened with jaggery. As soon as we began giving this out, a black dog appeared at the back door, the door that faces Mount Arunachala, looking intently at us. Usually, dogs don't like sweet offerings, but not this one. He lapped it all up and even went for the seconds and the thirds till he had more than his fill of the prasad. Black dogs are usually associated with Bhairava, a form of Lord Shiva, and this was a fulfilling thought for us that Lord Arunachaleshwara himself had accepted our offerings. That was the first sign. The second, that afternoon, our whole group had been invited to lunch at Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Ashram by Ma Devaki, who always treats us with great affection and love. As I mentioned earlier, we had started our fieldwork on this project by taking Yogiji's and Ma Devaki's blessings. Hence, it only seemed appropriate that we offer our gratitude at Yogiji's feet at the time of commencement. On this day, before proceeding for lunch, I went to their office to offer a donation to the ashram, yet another learning from Mohanji, offer gratitude and support at every possible opportunity. While giving us the donation receipt, the lady at the counter also handed over the thick pictorial book produced by Yogiji's centenary in 2019. This book also had a special article by Mohanji, so it was extra special for us. This was a pleasant surprise and blessing to receive this book now so that it can be kept in Mohanji's home for seniors library. A yellow butterfly fluttered past the manager as soon as I said this. He immediately pointed out that Yogiji had made his presence felt. Yogiji had declared that he would show his presence as a butterfly every now and then. In this case, the location behind the counter glass cubicle far away from the outside door and the timing just a second after our conversation left no doubt that this was a sign indeed from the great masters. Amazing. The third sign. In the evening, the ceremony of the Mohanji home was Bhagavati Seva, or the worship of Divine Mother. After the puja was over, prasad was distributed to all. This time the prasad was a payasam, a gooey sweet rice dish with an overload of jaggery and sugar. Almost on cue, a white dog appeared at the back door and happily lapped up a few leaf platefuls of the prasad. A white dog is associated with goddess Lakshmi, a form of divine mother, making us feel happy that that day's proceedings were successful. We received a call from Kishore's home at this point. A great Avaduta saint had called Revati, Kishore's wife and a Mohanji Acharya, and said that he would come to their house to have payasam, a sweet dish. This saint is an ardent worshipper of Divine Mother and is well aware of Mohanji and his work across the world. On this day, as the Bhagavati Seva was completed, his asking for the same payasam at Revati's house as prasad was a confirmation that Divine Mother herself had accepted our offering. All amazing signs. Jai Mohanji. We requested the saint to also visit the home and bless the project. Being an Avaduta, he did not commit despite our fervent request. However, the next day he called and said he would visit in the afternoon. This was the perfect timing for his visit on 31st August, just a day before the seniors were to actually start living in the home. His visit in a way rounded off the series of blessings for the project to take off successfully. The Mohanji Home for Seniors started operating on 1st September as planned, with 5 sadhus moving in. But interestingly, over time, we began to realize that the home was an abode not just for elders who we could see, but several others that our eyes could not see. For example, the staff regularly noticed that the food offered to Lord is consumed, and only part of it is visible the next day, despite the kitchen being completely closed. A few months since commencement, a routine has been established, and the seniors spend their days in an atmosphere of peace, love, and affection. Our staff lovingly serves them freshly cooked meals. Their clothes and hygiene are well tended to, and doctors check on their health regularly. Aratis are performed regularly to Mohanji and Mount Arunachala. Festivals are celebrated in a great style, and every attempt is made to ensure that the seniors feel at home and part of extended Mohanji family. Mohanji visited the home along with his parents and provided additional guidance to the team to enhance the quality of our services. He also inspired our team to accelerate the construction work to complete the first and second floors in their entirety and consider the building complete in all respects. That is now our focus, and we hope to reach the milestone soon. The conclusion of this chapter. As I write this on February 2022, I can only marvel at how smoothly this entire project has taken shape. I had the privilege of being involved in it from early stages and literally had a front row seat to see Mohanji's grace and vision play out, seemingly invisibly. When we string together the various incidents and reflect on what has been achieved and what instead could have been, we begin to appreciate the gravitas of the project. On behalf of everyone involved with this project, volunteers, donors, project managers, I can only say how grateful we are for the opportunity to be part of such a historical project. As I started the day today, I saw Mohanji quote for the day on the table calendar. At the end of the day, it is just grace and blessings which make a difference in regular life. Gratitude opens doors for grace to flow. Truer words could not have been spoken, and I am smiling at how Mohanji sends the right message again. That brings to the end of this chapter. We have a very lovely picture of Mohanji at the end of the chapter. Jai Mohanji. So that brings conclusion of this chapter on Mohanji Home for Seniors. In the next session, we will read the next chapter, which is by Subhashri, and it's titled Love on a Plate. So thank you so much for joining today's session. I hope you liked the session and the signs that were shared in this chapter about how the prayers and the puja were accepted. They are really profound and immense. It's all grace, as Mohanji says. Thank you so much once again, and wish you a very happy new year 2026 to all of you. Jai Mohanji.